All right, y'all, we are live. Hello, world. We are back live and in color all the way from Maine, Texas, by way of Atlanta, Georgia. I am your co-host, Deante Dunlap.
And I'm Shekema Dunlap.
And we are the
We're the
Dunlaps.
Dunlaps.
All right, my love. What happened in history that shares the same date as today? Talk to us.
So a couple things. So the first thing I want to do is just go back to the 4th, which was the anniversary of the murder of Fred Hampton. I would never do a show and not mention that. That was one of the most pivotal moments for me. I wasn't alive then, but just as an educator, I've always shared with my students the work of Chairman Fred Hampton. And I know a lot of people have become familiar with him through the movie Judas and the Black Messiah. But if you have not studied Fred Hampton and what he stood for, then I definitely suggest that you go look him up now. And again, December 4th commemorated the anniversary of his murder by the FBI and the Chicago Police Department. So for today, we're looking at the Equal Justice Initiative's calendar. And this one says December 6, 1915, the Supreme Court rules American women with foreign husbands lose their citizenship. How about that? So in Senate Resolution 402, they basically just said that they revoked citizenship of any women who married foreign nationals. So if I were to marry somebody from, I don't know, Egypt, then that would mean that I lost my citizenship. And so the Supreme Court issued a decision upholding the Expatriation Act of 1907, which stripped American women of their citizenship when they married a non-citizen. Under that act, women who lost their U.S. citizenship could apply to be naturalized if their husbands later became American citizens. But since virtually all Asian immigrants were legally barred from becoming U.S. citizens at the time, an American woman who married an Asian man would lose her citizenship permanently. Similarly, women of Asian descent who were American citizens by birth had no means of regaining their U.S. citizenship if they lost it through marriage to a foreigner, even if the foreigner was white, because Asian men and women were ineligible for naturalization in all circumstances. Meanwhile, American men who married foreign women were permitted to keep their citizenship. So the case was McKenzie versus Hare. It was an attempt to challenge the Expatriation Act and reach the U.S. Supreme Court. The court upheld the law, ruling that an involuntary revocation of citizenship could be unconstitutional, but stripping a woman of citizenship upon marriage to a foreign husband was permissible because such women voluntarily enter into such marriages with knowledge of the consequences. The Expatriation Act remained in effect until 1922, when Congress amended the law to permit most women to retain their American citizenship after marriage to a non-U.S. citizen, but still stripped citizenship from American women who marry Asian immigrants ineligible for citizenship until discriminatory immigration laws were reformed in the 60s. In 2014, the U.S. Senate passed a resolution expressing regret for the past revocation of American women's citizenship under this law. What y'all got on that?
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, I'll second that. Wow. Heard that one.
That's crazy.
Right?
Mm.
That's all you can say.
These things
That's
you
all
don't
you
hear
can
about.
Yeah.
You don't learn about these things. It's interesting. You never know. That's why the saying goes, if you don't know your history, you are doomed to repeat it. And you don't, and especially with with some of the things that are happening politically nowadays, if you don't realize, what has happened before, some of these things may, come around again. And, it's just fascinating how it's like they said, there's nothing new under the sun. It's like the same players get run over and over again. It's just with a different team. I guess a different coach and a different team, That's fascinating. Anybody have any commentary on that and thoughts to share?
I just don't understand why people keep doing women like this. I don't understand. The homeboy is straight. He can marry all type of whoever from wherever, but Shawty gotta go wherever he at. It don't make no sense to me. It doesn't make any sense. Like women always get the short end when they do the most work.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it.
Because they control birth. And if you're going to maintain dominance, you can't do it without a uterus.
Yep.
You have to control ovaries. You have to control women's, you have to control women's reproduction if you're going to maintain that dominance in society. And so, even though it's a very private thing, it's a very public thing. Like who women have children by is a very political act. Remember, they tried to like breed certain aspects of the, the global population out. So like, um, having ownership or dominion over women's bodies is very political.
Right.
Very
Which is
political.
why Roe versus Wade was so important this time around. And I guess even with that, like the only reason why it was super important is because now white women are being affected by Roe versus Wade. But of course, we all know that in minority communities, they've been doing this for a long time with Black and brown people.
I love it. All right. So what I want to do now is shift gears just a little bit. You can tell we have several special guests with us tonight.
Woo.
I want to take a moment to kind of introduce everybody. And I think instead of reading bios, if you could just give us like 30 seconds, a minute, tell us who you are and why you're here tonight. And then once we hear from everybody, we're going to shift and hear from my real estate boo, LeTicia Rivera-Clemente, who's here to help us get home for the holidays. That's the title of tonight's show. She's going to talk to us about everything home ownership in Texas. We're so delighted to have you here, LeTicia. So if you can just introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're here tonight.
Well, first, I just want to say I absolutely love what you guys are doing. You know that I love you. Thank you for having me. I am LeTicia Rivera-Clemente. I am a licensed realtor here in the state of Texas. I work in the Austin and surrounding areas, of course, such as Manor, Pflugerville, Round Rock, just the greater metro area. My background is actually in state government, previous 13 years in state government and enforcement. And then about 5 years ago, I just decided, the cubicle is not for me. I have an entrepreneurial spirit and wanted to go into business for myself. So I have been a realtor going on 5 years.
That is cool. So you started off in real estate like right before we moved. Well, before I moved to Texas. Dunlap has been here for several years, but right before I got here.
Okay.
All right. Janeese Hoagland, aka Nisi Poo.
All right. Well, my name is Janeese Hoagland. I'm 29 years old. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, but I currently live in Los Angeles, California. I actually just moved here in August, so it's been like 4 or 5 months being here. Went to Mount Zion High School, Miss Dunlap. Sorry, thinking back in high school. Miss Dunlap taught me from 2011 to 2012. I ended up graduating from Auburn University with my bachelor's in media studies and minor in theater. And I currently work at ESPN now, which is under Disney, so under the Disney umbrella. I've been with the company for like 5 years, and what I usually would do is live event replay for television and different live events. And now I do like short highlight turnarounds and television segments.
That is so cool. Okay, so realtor, ESPN. Okay. Doneshia Gordon.
Hi, I'm Doneshia. I'm 32 years old. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, but right now I live in Dubai. So similar to Janeese, I moved here in August to become a teacher. So I'm here right now for 2 years, but this is actually, it feels so long, my 9th year of teaching. So hitting that decade mark in education, and I met Miss Dunlap. She wasn't necessarily my teacher per se, but I made myself her student as much as I was in her face when she was at Riverdale High School. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yes, and she's modest, but when she was at Forest Park High School, she won Teacher of the Year.
Yes.
So she's definitely my favorite math teacher.
Yes.
Thank you.
Great things. We do great things. And last but not least, Brandon.
Hey, how y'all doing? My name is Brandon Wallace. I am 29, about to be 30. I also went to Mount Zion with Janeese. We were in the magnet program. I did theater. She did vocal, but we kind of, intertwined, got it together, figured it out.
Mhm.
Also, like Doneshia, Miss Dunlap was not my teacher, but I was always around. Just somehow she taught my little brother. So she's fond of my brother. I think she also taught his fiance. Yeah.
It was hard to get
Good
into her class anyway. She was a
I
hot
heard she was the
commodity.
hot ticket. She was the hot ticket at Mount
Mhm.
Zion. Yes, but I am my judgment is exciting as every bit. Yes, yes. But I am a secretary at Oliver Elementary in Clayton County. I'm also a YouTuber, drag queen, actor, all around performer. I do whatever I can as long as the check clear and that it's a good time. So yeah.
That part.
That's right, for real.
Yes. And honestly, when I invited Brandon, I didn't know if he was gonna come as Brandon or Santana. So okay. All right.
She take too much.
It's
She
too
over there.
much.
She over there. She on break. She on break till Sunday.
Oh,
Well,
not on break.
her clothes right here. These are clothes.
Okay. Okay.
And this is her trophy. She won second place in a pageant this summer.
Yes.
Is
So
that
this
is that
is
like
her
a glass
trophy.
slipper? What is that?
We'd love to see it.
It's not glass. But it's nice. It's nice. So I keep her close.
I love it. I love it. All right. Thank you, y'all. I'm so glad to have all of y'all here. And y'all know my booski, Deante. That's the
Yeah.
spouse. And I appreciate him for having just allowing me to spend some time with the people that I love. He's gonna allow me to do 2 shows. So this is part 1. Part 2 will have some additional young people that I've worked with. So I'm grateful. He's such a good sport, baby. Thank you.
Oh, it's my pleasure. My absolute pleasure.
Oh, I'm gonna be nice to you when this is over. Him embarrassed. All right, LeTicia, you ready?
Yes.
Tell us what we need to know about this home ownership situation here in Texas.
So I love that you titled the show Home for the Holidays, because, it's a common misconception that, during the holidays is not a good time to buy, when actually it can be the opposite, because during the holidays, yes, things tend to slow down, but you have to think that there's less competition out there. One of the things that is happening right now, a lot of fear mongering online. The interest rates are so high, it's not a good time. So you have buyers sitting on the sidelines waiting for interest rates to go down, when that's just not a smart thing to do. Because guess what? The prices of the homes aren't going down. Appreciation is constantly going up. Just look at the data. The data shows that. And that's one of the things that's big about me, the type of realtor that I am, is I'm big on the education part of it. I make sure that my clients, my sellers, my buyers, my investors are, well educated about the entire process and about everything that's happening right now. So, buyers that are sitting on the sidelines, listen, you're going to be sitting on the sidelines again when the interest rates go down, because then that's when you'll have more buyers flooding the market. And then you'll have a multiple offer situation, like, what happened the last year and last 2 years during COVID, when interest rates were so low. So, it's real important to get with a knowledgeable realtor that can educate you on what exactly is happening in the market, and, when the right time to buy is. And of course, the right time to buy is if, your pockets are right. But I also, I connect and work with a lot of great, experienced, knowledgeable lenders. And that's really the first step, making sure that you speak with the lender, find out what your debt to income ratio is. A lot of people, another misconception is that, my credit has to be 700 before I can get approved. And that's not true. FHA, the lowest your score can be is actually a 585. And to get approved for some of the programs, you just have to be at a 620. So, you know, a lot of lenders and a lot of the builders actually have programs in place that will help buyers get you to where you need to be so that you can get into a home. So again, you know, it's just about having the right realtor on your side.
The more you know.
Oh
and who
yeah,
you
because I
know.
mean, you don't know what you don't know, right?
Absolutely.
So
Awesome.
What advice would you give to people who are just, I don't know, like almost afraid, just feeling overwhelmed, like by the whole process of becoming a homeowner? And it's a dream, you know, that they have, but like they just don't know where to start. Like they don't, it's just the overwhelming fear. Like maybe they do have a score and don't even know what to do next.
yeah, so listen, I worked with those buyers too. And I actually just helped a buyer move right up the street in Elgin. You know, it's only like a 10-minute drive away. She was a first-time home buyer. I love working with first-time home buyers because, like I said, I'm big on the education part of it. Because that's what I, you know, pride myself in with my clients, is that I am there to take a lot of that stress and frustration off of your back, right? Your realtor should be working for you and should make the process and the experience pleasurable, because it's a lot of stress and it's a big deal. It's one of the, you know, biggest purchases that you'll ever make in your life. So again, the first step is to make sure that you get connected with a knowledgeable realtor. You know, don't just hook up with your cousin because she's an agent. And, you know, no shade on, you know, family that's doing their thing as a realtor. But, you know, if you're not exactly qualified, hey, it's okay to share the love. And guess what? You can get a referral fee. But let me pass you to someone who's more experienced in this area. So that's the first thing. Get with a knowledgeable realtor. Number two, you have to be pre-approved before you go home shopping. I do not take anyone out without a pre-approval, because you don't want to go shop if you don't know what you can afford, you know? So definitely have to get with a lender that can break everything down, and a lender who is communicative, that will be there during the entire process. My first time home buyer, you know, I got her under contract in less than 3 weeks on a new build, on new construction. She was so nervous during the entire time, but guess what? Again, I'm one of those agents that I'm there with you. I don't just pass you off to the builder like some agents do. They'll pass you off to the builder rep and then rely on the builder rep to give you the information through the process. No, I'm on top of the builder rep. Where are we at? Send us an update of photos. Explain this, you know, she needs a breakdown of this, because every builder contract is not the same. They're not all created equally. And so, like I said, I'm there with her, you know, through all the appointments, or all my clients through all the appointments, every step of the way. So, you know, number one, get with a good agent, get with a lender, make sure your finances are in order. And everything, you know, if you got the right agent on your side, everything will just fall into place.
That's some good information. I know that Dunlap and I, we're still newbies. Like, we purchased homes before, like, but we still don't know like all the ins and outs, right? And if we hadn't had good realtors walk us through, I don't know if we would have made it. Like, it's just, there are just so many hoops and hurdles. Yeah. And one misstep can derail the whole process.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you're here. You know, and will you continue to come back and do segments? I think like every, kind of like walk people through the home buyer process, and then hopefully by like this time next year we have at least 6 or 7 people who can close.
I love that. Yeah, I'm happy to help. I'm always happy to share information and, you know, get people thinking, you know, outside of what they're seeing online. Like I said, all this fear mongering that's going on. So yeah, I'm always happy to help, and I appreciate you thinking of me and allowing me to be a part of it.
You're my real estate boo. Who else would I have? Yeah. So tell people how they can find you.
Yes. So my handle is LeTicia, the number 4 real estate, and that's across all social media. So you can find me on Facebook, Instagram. I don't really do too much TikTok, but I'm on TikTok. Also my Gmail. So it's LeTicia for real estate. And then, you know, whatever the website is how you can find me.
All
Awesome.
right. Before we let Miss LeTicia go, did y'all have any questions? Like, do y'all have any first time home buyer questions or any questions?
I know I'm definitely going to be reaching out to her because my sister, I've been trying to help her with it too, but she's going through I don't think they were really real estate agents so much so as people that she found online. And it's so hard to weed out,
Yeah.
like you said, someone that's there to educate, because that's literally what I told her. You need someone that's going to teach you, not just say, do this, do this, do this, and here you go. So
what area does your sister stay at?
Right now, the only thing though, she's in Atlanta though, but I think they live in Greenbrier, but she's open to moving anywhere at this point. She's been trying for 2 years, and she's heard the whole wait because of the interest rates, or it's too much competition now. So she's been told all the myths and everything, tried the TikToks and everything. So it's been a long journey for her.
Yeah, and even though, I can't work the entire state of Texas just because there are different membership boards throughout the entire state, but I have an amazing network that I would, can refer to in a different state if I cannot touch that. But, something to remember is supply and demand. The demand is still high right now. We are still we have a nationwide housing shortage. So if that's the case, we're not in a housing bubble. That's another misconception, that's being spread out there. And you can see that again, like I said, look at the data. And that's why, if anyone has a question, you could just definitely come to me because I have the data to show, I have the information to back up what I'm saying. And it just doesn't make sense. You can just look over the years of time where the interest rates are and, how homes continue to appreciate. So we're not in a bubble. There's a housing shortage still. And when there is demand, buyers still can buy.
We love that. We love that. And Miss LeTicia, we hope that you can stay, but if you cannot, we thank you for your time, and we'll see you in about 2 weeks.
Yes, I will be here, and I do have some time. I can stay.
Thank you. Look at God. Okay. All right. So we're going to transition to the next part of the show, and this is about my babies. This is a little reunion, and I'm so glad. Doneshia, I know you said it's like 3 a.m. where you are. That is dedication. Y'all, somebody that's in their 30s and they're willing to get up at 3 a.m. to come just spend time with their high school teacher. And like she said, she wasn't even in my class. I was her yearbook sponsor. She was in my yearbook class. But yes, look at God. And so I'm just delighted to have y'all and Mr. Dunlap.
Love. That's called love.
It is. That's and I have always loved them. I have always told them that I love them. They thought I was crazy. But I always told my babies that I loved them. They were like, this lady is wow. She ain't talking about she love us. She don't even know us. And I'm like, you can't stop me from loving you. You can't, because see, if the thing is that if you had to do something to earn my love, then that means that you can do something to make me stop loving. And that's not possible. You can't, you don't have the power to make me love you, and you don't have the power to make me stop loving you. That's just what we're going to do. We're going to love each other. So I'm just so glad to have y'all here. Mr. Dunlap, I'm going to let you ask some questions, and I'm going to sit back and see what comes out of their mouths. They've been trained well now, but I know they're grown, so we're going to see.
Well, I mean, I think we can just, because I don't have any direct questions, so to speak, but, I do like hearing the stories. So I guess we can go down to, whoever wants to go first. What's your favorite story? Tell us your favorite story about your moment with Miss Dunlap, Mrs. Dunlap.
I'm on mute right now. Go ahead.
So, I remember this one. All right. So Miss Dunlap was, I think she either went away for something or she was out that day. And we had a sub, and we were in the middle of like transition classes, like everybody's transitioning the classes, and we're sitting down just waiting for the sub or whatever, and all of a sudden some student comes from out the hallway, comes in and basically tries to fight one of the students in her class. Yeah, it was crazy. And first of all, like Miss Dunlap class was like a sanctuary. Like you pulling something like that, like it was a no. So that person basically they fought in the class. We had to get the principal, assistant principal to like take them out. She found out what happened, and then the next day when she came back, she was like, "How dare y'all allow somebody to come into your sanctuary to fight and bring all of this like harmful spirit and like all of this like animosity? This is supposed to be a safe space. This is supposed to be your classroom. And for y'all to do something like that," she was like, it's disgraceful. And we all in here like, we sorry, we didn't mean for it to happen. Like we were just, transitioning classes. We didn't see it coming because it happened so fast. But when I tell you, it was like Fort Knox trying to get up in that classroom the next time. We was not letting people in her class. It was like a club. You had to be on the list.
That's awesome. And so just for the audience out there, for those of you who are tuning in who may be new to the family, Mrs. Dunlap has a profound connection with the students that she's taught in her career. And part of this reunion was to bring some of these brilliant minds that she has helped shape and become productive adults to the spotlight, so we can, because I really, this is one of the things she talks to me about on a regular basis, about her students, her babies, these young people that she's managed to inspire and reach. And I think that the proof is in the pudding. It's one thing to say someone is a prolific teacher, but it's a whole nother thing when you bring the results of that craft and how that shaped a young person to become a productive adult. And I think that for me, that is what I want to illustrate here today. Is one thing to teach, but it's the lasting impact. It's like, okay, I could teach you arithmetic in this class, but can you take what I teach you and use it in the world? And I want to highlight these young people who have taken what Mrs. Dunlap has instilled in them and brought it to the world and become their own version of a productive adult, to become successful in their own right. So that's part of that. That's the big highlight here that I want to spotlight, is how she's brought these young people up through her gift and allowed them to bring their gift to the world. So thank you for sharing that story. That's amazing, because it takes a lot to create a safe space. And when you have something as poignant as violence, physical violence coming to your space, and for her to step forward and make sure you all understand that space will remain sacred, says a lot. So it's one thing to say it's a safe space, but it's a whole other thing to put it into practice and put those locks and securities around that and make it what you say it is. So thank you for sharing that. Who's next? Keep them coming.
I'll go next.
Oh God. Go ahead, B.
Yeah. So, like I said, she wasn't my teacher, but I remember my senior year. I think we didn't do nothing our senior year. We just walked around. We was just doing stuff. I walked into. I think she was teaching my brother's class. I think I had walked in there. I don't know if you remember, like Damiana. They were in that class and stuff like that. Those little people. Shout out to them. So I went in there. I had talked to Ms. Dunlap a couple times, just hey, how you doing? Just doing the hallways. And then I just sat in there. I want to tell you this sense of like calm fell on me. I said, oh, this is nice. I ain't never felt this at Mount Zion. What is this? Oh, this is cute. Okay. The lights were low. The children were at peace. She was over there in her corner handling business. The kids were doing their thing. She was doing her thing. I was like, oh, this is nice. I went and spoke. I said, hello, how you doing? Might I sit in for a minute? She was like, sure, come on in. You're welcome. And I was like, okay, thank you. It was very nice. And we had like a small conversation, and it was just her energy and her spirit just radiates just beauty and love. And like, especially at Mount Zion, we needed a safe space because Mount Zion was not a safe space. So it was very nice to be in that room for just those few moments. And it was like, oh, this is wonderful. And then I have another moment. It happened as an adult. A dear friend of mine passed away, our beautiful Aurora. And she was over kind of everything with the family, kind of just being there for them. And seeing her brought a calm to my spirit, because it was already heavy. It was a lot going on. That was everybody's baby, and then just being with her in that moment and being able to love on her and to just have that connection with her about the Aurora and how beautiful she was, not only on the outside but on the inside. It was wonderful having that moment with her and sharing that with her and the family. So yeah, that's just a little take on her. She's amazing.
And that was like years after we graduated too. That was like 2-3 years after we graduated. For a teacher to, like we were all like grown in college, but for a teacher to even, still put her best foot forward to basically gather around the students who she taught and like who knew Aurora, and to create this community, even if we hadn't seen each other in years, but just on Facebook, it was you cannot tell me, like, you can't find people who do that on a normal basis.
Absolutely.
Just for everybody who I had the pleasure of marrying Aurora. I officiated at her wedding, and then I had the honor of officiating at her funeral. And then I was there a few years later when Georgia State gave her posthumous honorary degree. So that, Brandon, I had no idea one of y'all were going to bring that up, but that's what the tears are for, y'all, and I actually flew back home last year and I officiated at her little brother's wedding. So that their family, the Van Valen family, they have a very special place in my heart.
Shout out to them.
For sure.
I saw the mom this year. I gave her a big hug. I'm just like, oh, hey, Mom.
Yes. So Miss Felicia, if you can hear us or somebody is watching, please tag Miss Felicia so she can know that we're on here and we are still loving on her baby, right? And I do believe, in the African tradition that you are only dead when people stop calling your name. So Aurora is still here with us, her spirit. Y'all talk about a beautiful spirit.
Ooh, yes.
Just pure love, just pure. Just pure,
absolutely.
Yeah. So. Doneshia, I know it's hard to follow up behind that. It's your turn.
I mean to go in. It was on my spirit. Okay. I had to.
Hey, you gotta get it off. You gotta get it off.
Well, I think I think the big thing here, and I'll let you have your spot, Doneshia, is just the lasting impact. That moment, connected y'all forever, and not just, but it's everything involved. It's not just the good, it's all of it encompasses. That's what makes a complete experience. And when you have someone that not only teaches you, how to see the world and, and some, in some factual items, but also can, comfort you in time in tough moments in your life, those are the moments that stick with us forever. And it's always amazing that, to have that, I think everybody, has to have that one person, particularly from school age, from your school days, that has that lasting impression on you. I know I have mine, and so, but I'm glad that you all have this, and I'm glad to be connected to such a person that brought you all, that brought you all so much, and that you all still value to this day. And so, Doneshia, I'll give you your opportunity to speak your piece, because I'm sure you have something amazing to add to this, already amazing, gift of story. So I'll open up the floor for you.
I don't even know if I want to go now. No. What's so funny, because I love that, Brandon, you said that, because as you guys are talking, I have so many amazing moments with Miss Dunlap, but I don't want to say that. It's always how she made me feel. And but if I really think about one encounter, it was just her tone. And you guys know she has this mama tone. It's a soft-spoken mama tone. She was talking to me about a boy, and she was like, I don't even know why you're in denial. Why we playing this game and something? And I was like, okay, this lady's going to be in my life forever. I knew at that point. And then as an adult, when I went through what I went through, and we just talked on the phone, and it was so weird. It was transcendental for me because being on the phone with her, I was sitting on my bed, but I felt like I was facing her, and she was sitting on the bed with me. And so when I think of moments that I have, it's more so every time, how did she make me feel? Even in her times when she fussed at me, because I don't know why it always ends up being I get fussed at in a loving way. And I'm like, I didn't come for all of this. But even with that, it wasn't such a beat down. It was more so of a comforting, like, look, I'm gonna get you right, but I'm also gonna tell you where you were wrong in it too. And know that you're not, for me, it was always knowing that I wasn't alone. I always felt like I was more mature in high school than most, and I don't think people gave me the space to actually live in that. I didn't feel like they looked down on me, but I felt like speaking up was never a place for me. And anytime I talked to her, I felt respected and that she acknowledged, hey, I see you for you. And that's stayed with me as a teacher, because my whole thing is I want my students to know I see them. Nothing else. I don't care about the math. I see you. I see, and every time we talk, she doesn't realize she says it, and it makes me cry every time. I don't cry until she says that. She always says, baby girl, I see you. Every single time. And that is when I'm like, that's all I've ever wanted. And I didn't find it until high school, my 11th grade year, from a lady that was my yearbook sponsor at the last minute, who I still wasn't in her face like that much. I sat in the back, tried to be quiet, and I would slowly come up and say little things just to see, is she picking up on this? To hear every time, even the very last conversation before this, baby girl, I see you. So.
It's interesting how all of this ties together, right? We got the theme of being home for the holidays. We talked about home ownership. And then you all have kind of led into all of the stories that you all told have a theme of safety, right? And where do you feel most safe? At home. And that's the interesting thing about being a teacher, because, myself as a martial artist, as a martial arts instructor, you come across people of all walks, some people who have experience, some people who don't, but it's when you can make somebody feel comfortable being themselves. And where are you most yourself? At home. And so that's one of the things I try to do when I meet a new student or someone who's never practiced martial arts, is make them feel comfortable, make them feel at home, make them feel like, hey, you could kick your socks off and you can slip and fall, and we're going to help you get up and we're going to try it again. That's what you do at home, right? When you're trying out new stuff, you're trying out new material, new clothes, whatever the case may be, you can be your full self. And I think that that's one of the key aspects of being a teacher or an instructor. In order to reach somebody and allow themselves to be vulnerable enough for you to teach them, you got to give them a sense of home. You got to give them a sense of they're in a safe space. And that's one thing that I can say that has been a reoccurring theme in all of your stories, is this need to feel safe. And I know we make jokes in popular society about safe spaces and things of this nature, but the thing about the martial artist, the thing about the warrior, is that they feel safe within themselves. That's what martial arts teaches you, how to be safe within yourself. It teaches you how to be confident, knowing that you could take care of yourself. And, and that's what I'm hearing resonating from you all. And it just kind of hit me as not just as a teacher myself, but as a student, as a martial artist, as a warrior, is just this feeling of being, even in the midst of chaos, feeling safe. When the world around you is just spinning tornado, you're in the eye of it and you feel safe. And that's what I've heard that Mrs. Dunlap has provided for you all, is that eye in the storm, is the place in the middle of the storm where you can just go and just be and just, you know, and not feel threatened, you know, from the outer world. So I appreciate those stories, and it just reaffirmed everything I already knew about her. But to hear you all speak to it and to have it all tie in together to just again about home, you know, and to bring you all back together again for somebody that made you feel at home, that made you feel comfortable telling some of the things that you probably wouldn't tell anybody else. You know, that's, you know, and you know, kind of tying it back to martial arts, you know, you at your rawest form, you know, where, you know, everybody can see your mistakes. Everything you do is on display. And so you don't get to hide, you know, and I know in the classroom where you can be your most vulnerable, where you might get the answer wrong, or you might not, you know, put the project together the way it was anticipated. You know, if you're in a space where you're given the space to make those mistakes, and you're allowed to rebuild from that. You know, I think everybody deserves that at some point in their lives, and I'm honored and I'm happy that you all had that ability, had that space in your life, because now you understand, you know, and that's what most young people want, is to feel safe, you know, away from their parents and in the world. And I'll be honest, this world does a bad job at making, you know, young folk feel safe in the broader world. And so, you know, as teachers, as instructors, as adults, you know, we have to remember that if we want to if we want to teach our young people better, we got to make it safe for them. We got to make it safe to allow them to reveal their secrets and to be themselves in the world. Because if you live a life where you feel like you can't make any mistake, you know, that's a really tough life to live. Trust me, I know. You know. But thank you all for sharing your stories. Ms. Dunlap, I'll open up the floor to see if you have any questions. If you don't want to add anything.
Just want to tell you all that I love you. And I try to tell you that as often as I interact with you, and I mean it. And I hope that y'all know, without a shadow of a doubt, that I mean that. And I'm proud of each of you. I'm so proud of who you've become, who you're becoming. And I don't want to say I told you so, but I did. I feel like I did, right? Like I feel like I told all of y'all like that you were special, and that I knew that you were going to have your moment one day, and that I hope that you're ready for it, right? And so, you know, we would always talk about having to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And one of the things that Janeese didn't talk about was her class and the political activism they engaged in, right? So let's talk about that a little bit, Janeese. What were your lessons from that? Like what happened, and as an adult looking back on that, what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I want to hear this.
You know what's crazy? That moment changed my entire life. What was it? That was when, wasn't it Trayvon Martin, right? So that was when the whole incident with Trayvon Martin, like when he got murdered by those police officers, happened. And our class, and not only just us, but we had underclassmen who was very passionate as well. Like 7th grade class with Milani and all of them, they were highly passionate as well. And Milani wanted to do a demonstration with us walking out of class respectfully, going to the track and just, you know, doing a lap just to commemorate him. And our principal said no. And we were like, okay, and like we did not care. So luckily it worked out in our favor, because like she was just like, she made an announcement. It was like, if anybody walked out of class, like you will get in trouble. Nobody cared about that. We ended up doing it anyways. And not only did we just march past the field, like we went all the way down the street, came back, go all the way up the street. We had the news out there. It was everything. But that moment taught me that there are things in life that you have to fight for every moment of your life, politically. Even us being as Black children in Clayton County, like nobody really cares about. There's always going to be some kind of activism that you will have to take part of. Even like I said, with that regard, me going to college, going to Auburn in the middle of Alabama when Obama was elected, there were tons of situations where when he got elected, we went to go roll Tumors Corners, and we had, you know, Klansmen or other people running or like literally circling the block, calling us all kinds of names, trying to spit on people, everything. Even to that detriment, I think it was like after I graduated the year after, there was this guy, I forgot his name. I'm not gonna even give him a clout either, but he basically wanted to come to campus to rile up all of like the Trump supporters and talk about his racist antics. And me being with that situation happening in high school, being part of VSU, those moments mattered, and like documenting those moments mattered, and like being able to communicate that to the press and to other people on campus, and to show that there is more out here than just white people, that brown, problems matter, Black people matter. Like these things are important for you to understand and for you to know. But that moment sparked the activist in me. Like my mom, she gets on me all the time, even when I lived in Connecticut. Like I went on the Highland, I was marching with people, like those moments, they matter. And I'll never forget it. Like she taught us that there are always things that to fight for. Even to this day, like when you get a job and you feel like you're not getting paid enough, fight for that, because there are other people who don't say anything and they're getting lowballed. And I didn't realize that until I actually moved to LA. When I got my opportunity out here, they weren't paying me enough. They paid new hires more than they were paying me. But it's just like it's always something to fight for. It's always something to fight for. You're always going to have people that have your back, and it may be a slow process and there may be consequences, but it's totally worth it.
How impactful is it that we had a teacher that showed us it's bigger than us? Because most teachers are focused on what's in your classroom, and it's this small little thing. I just got to get through this. Give me my time. And for her to actually still be able to teach and still be able to be like, this is bigger than just what we do now. It transcends that, because this decision, like you said, you didn't realize it was going to change your life. But the fact that she gave you that space to do that, so that's just mind blowing.
Yeah, we even had political debates in her classroom. We talked about how we felt. We had times where she was just like, how do you guys feel about this? And instead of doing the lesson of the day or wherever that was planned for us by Clayton County, she gave us the space to open up, cry, scream, shout, write it out, do whatever we needed to do to get that out, because it's important. And when I tell you, like, Miss Dunlap, if it wasn't for her and teachers like her, she prepares you, like, she really does prepare you for the real world. Like, you know what you're going to get when you go out here. You know that people are going to be racist against you. You know what you got to stand for. And like what Mr. Dunlap was saying, you know where home is. Home is in your mind. Home is what you make it. Home is your spirit and what you value. And you have to make sure that those things are strong, because the world is going to always try to break you down regardless of what you think and what you say. But if it wasn't for her, I'm telling you, like, she's taught us so many lessons that I wouldn't be the person I am today if I wasn't in her class.
That's a blessing right there, child. Come on, speak on it.
Give her
But
flowers.
it's real out here.
Man, it really is.
Because like working with children, especially Black children, mind you, I'm not in the classroom, so I don't get to experience fully what they see and what they talk about. But the fact that they're attacking learning about Black lives in the school system, there's literal legislation saying that we cannot talk about Blackness to a certain extent, which is ridiculous, because you're trying to keep not only the Black babies who need the history to see themselves in some kind of light outside of reality TV, rap, movies. Like, those are all beautiful things. Those are things that we are, we enjoy, and things that, have helped us move through in our own lives. But there are people who are scholars, educators, people who are writers, people who are waymakers, people who make change. And we don't know about a lot of the people currently in office who are Black, who make choices for us outside of course, for Georgia, the fool and then Raphael Warnock. Those are both Black men.
I still keep tabs on Georgia. Look, I keep tabs on that too. I'm all the way in California. I keep tabs on Georgia, baby.
Because, baby girl,
politics matter regardless of where you living at.
that man is a detriment to all people. You know, and I was telling my friend, I wanted both. I wanted both Miss Abrams and I wanted Warnock. But I said if I had to choose one of the two, the lesser of two evils, give me the white man and the black man instead of the black woman and the black man. Because Herschel did not need to be nowhere near my capital. He would be nowhere near my legislative meetings. Nowhere near none of that.
At all.
But these are things that we don't talk about with kids anymore. We don't make the election process a topic of conversation. We had when I was coming up in Clayton County, we had fake elections. They had a whole program for us to go in and vote for a candidate. You know, I voted for John Kerry when he was going against Bush, you know, because I was like, Bush ain't giving. So I'm going to go with John Kerry. You know, I was elementary school, but I was like, and then even things, you know, like LGBTQ history, that's one thing that we all do back and forth with that. And that's fine. Ain't no tea. I get it. But like, there are people in LGBTQ history who are major parts of not only like their own history, but Black history and world history, and you know, United States history, American history. But so it's just like we don't have to keep people so separate and far away from things that are reality. The white babies will be okay.
It's okay to learn the truth.
Potentially, you know, they might have been.
But you know, they don't want them to know the truth. That's the thing. They don't want them to know the truth. They don't want them to know what their ancestors did. So what the saying is, Black history is American history. They don't want them to know all the strife that their ancestors put the rest of the country through, and how basically this country is built on Black people's back and Native American people's back. Even when it comes down to other nationalities, we did all the groundwork and white people literally profited off of it.
And it's moving to Dubai. It is. I knew about that in America, but you don't realize it's the same in the whole world. And that's why I'm saying it's amazing that she showed us that it was bigger than us, because I have people that I work with who do not believe slavery was they had slave owners or their ancestors were slave owners, because that was only in America. It didn't happen everywhere else. But your ancestors also came to America. It was an immigrant area, an immigrant place. So to hear that in growing up in Clayton County, being, you know, Black everything. I even went to HBCU because I was like, I'm just gonna live in it. I am who I am. And then coming here and hearing the things, it makes you have to switch up who you are, because you would think it's more internationally, the races, they're mingled in a lot here. But the racism fight that's here is so much bigger than what it is in America. And what it is that people don't realize it though, because it's not talked about as much. It's just, every Black person has the same name at this point. Or, hey, you must be kin to this person, not realizing that, no, my last name was given because of my slave owner from history. And they're like, wait. So even having to have them understand that piece of it. Or even when we do little protests and I tried mentioning it, you heard about it. That's like, you mean that kid that something happened? No, it's not just that kid. Right. Even that understanding of we need to put respect, whether it's your nationality or not, there's some level of respect happening, even if it was just censorship of things, because there's a lot of that too when it comes to slavery history, especially anywhere else in America. It's just having that platform to be able to say, well, as a Black educator or as a Black person with a sense of mind, here is how I feel. And having someone that was so adamant about, what do you feel? Say it, get it out. If it doesn't sound right, okay, that's fine. But at least be able to express your feelings versus keeping it inside all the time. So.
Absolutely.
That's huge. So I guess what I'll do for my closing question for tonight is just talk about how the world has changed. Since you weren't in the classroom, like what you thought the world was going to be like versus what it really is. What's the biggest surprise to you as an adult?
It's the ghetto.
Hello.
Don't
Can
think
we
it's
talk
ghetto.
about it?
10 out of
Oh
10 would not
my
recommend.
God. Oh
Get
my
me out of here.
God.
I just want to do chores and just do my homework and play video games. Like, if I didn't have to pay for bills, Jesus.
This is the worst. This is the worst.
Get
I
me
hate it
out.
here. Like, dating sucks. And then on top of it, high school dating was so easy. You knew all 10 people in a row that was at the school, so you had a choice. Now you got Tinders and the Hinges and all the stupid stuff. Everybody evil. Everybody want this. Everybody want that. It's too much. Bills are too high. Hello. Why do I have to pay $2,000 for 400 square feet? Make it make sense. In Atlanta, there's nothing to offer in this city that's that important to offer that much money in the city. What are you doing? I love Atlanta. I'm from Atlanta. Bankheads on one, gang gang. But what is we doing? What is you doing?
No, but for
Child.
real.
And then car insurance.
Oh, yeah.
Scam. Go ahead. Sorry.
It's a scam, Rich.
Everything. Everything's a scam.
Everything is a
It's all
scam.
a
Okay.
scam.
It's all a scam.
but back to the question. There were moments where we had parents and teachers all say it's not what you expect it's going to be. There were moments where they was like it's going to be hard, but we're 17, 18. Hot new thing. We about to break free into the world. We out here. And then my slap happened early, but I continue to get slapped throughout these past. Tell them about high school. I graduated in 20, so what, 10 years, 11 years about high school? Yeah.
You graduated 2011, right?
I did. It's been 11
Yeah.
years since I graduated.
Yeah, because I was 2012. I was right behind you.
Oh. But I've been slapped several years along the way with lessons. And it's just like, we should have paid attention more. We should have paid more attention when it came to life lessons, because a lot of y'all gave us life lessons, but you weren't paying attention. We got love lessons too, but we weren't paying attention. And economics class is also a scam. I just want to say that as well. Because I don't want to be shady, but I'm gonna do it. My economics teacher did not set me up for life. Shout out to Miss Connor. But I was not set up for what the truth of finances would be as someone trying to potentially, have somewhere to live, drive a nice car, be able to pay my bills, and still, work a job that I enjoy. And like the world has gotten the world has been dark, but we now acknowledge, we can now see how dark the world is because it's so much access to so many other spaces outside of our little bubble. Like, I've cried many nights over LGBTQ lives that have been taken. My Black trans sisters who have been gunned down, murdered, assaulted, all type of things. And I have to constantly battle family and friends with trying to, give validation to these women's lives because they don't understand, because of their religious beliefs. And there's so many things in that is a lie. But there's another thing. But it's just realizing that every day is a fight. I didn't know I had to fight every day of my life, because in high school I didn't have to fight.
All my life I had to fight, bro.
All my life, I didn't realize I was going to have to fight every day. I have to fight one for being gay, one for being Black, one for being fat. I know I had to fight for my weight. You know what I'm saying? Like, one for being a creative. I like to act. I like to dance, do drag. I do YouTube. I have a TikTok. Like, I do things that are fun for me, and I create spaces for other people to enjoy those things. But I don't have to fight for everything. It's hard to just exist. And now, being a Black man, I didn't know how bad it was when I was in high school. But it started with Trayvon for us. Trayvon was the big, we heard about it, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, all of them, they were, they were, gunned down as well. But it's just like, we didn't see it. It wasn't real because it was 40 years before 50 years before we got there. But now seeing the Trayvons, the George Floyds, the Breonna Taylors, so many people to even think about. Philando Castile was one that really got me because you killed this man in front of his children. Like it's I'm Black and I'm not a small man. I feel like I have to watch my back, and my brother is the same way. We are both tall, husky, like it's an intimidation thing. I have the sweetest face. Look at it. Like, I'm not gonna bother nobody. But it's just I'm in fear and fighting for my life in that regard too, because I don't know who, as a person of color or just existing, who's gonna try to take that from me. And I gotta worry about my nieces and nephews coming up. They're mixed, some of them are mixed race, some of them are Black men. I have Black women. I have to watch them, make sure they're okay and make sure they're uplifted. And then I got to worry about, my Janeeses and my Doneshas in my life. I got to make sure that these women are uplifted in my life. I may drop, I just want to make sure women are always told how beautiful they are inside and out. I have to feed that into them because the world tries to take that, especially Black women try to take that from them. And like, not only are old white men trying to take control of women's bodies, but like the mortality rate with women in pregnancies and just in the hospital in general, with Black people in the hospital, it's scary. It's so scary to me. And I didn't realize how scary it was going to be at 18 years old.
Wow.
But now seeing all this happen, it's just like, I'm thankful for my village, my extended village, people who are close and people who are nearby. Like even Miss Dunlap, like I know if I ever needed anything, I could reach out and you'd be there. Like, I don't have to talk to you every day. I don't have to, be in your face. But I just know, like, if I say, hey, Mom, I need a moment. Can you just give me 2 seconds? I know I could do that. And it's the village is most important when the world is so dark.
I think that's a good way to close.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to close on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to close on that one. Thank you, Brandon. So y'all, thank you for joining us tonight. Dunlap, I'm just full. Maybe I'll let you close us out. I don't know. I just want to say thank you, y'all, for being here with me tonight. For blessing me, for blessing our viewers and our listeners on Spotify. Our special guests tonight have been LeTicia Rivera-Clemente, Janeese Hoagland, Brandon Wallace, and Doneshia Gordon. I'm Shekema Dunlap.
And I'm Deante Dunlap. We're the Dunlaps.
Yeah.
Thank y'all for joining.
We'll see you here next Tuesday, same time, 6 p.m. Central Standard, right here on Facebook Live.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.